So a couple nights ago, we sat down and watched the 1981 film Possession, which is a film that is pretty well regarded in the horror community. And yeah, this is definitely a what the hell is going on the entire film kind of movie. It can be unsettling, but a lot of that has to do with like you're just kind of screaming, what is going on the entire film.
Yeah.
As far as like the plot goes, I mean, there's Sam Neill plays this spy who comes home after being away for a while, and his wife wants a divorce, and she's just like, it's not another guy, and I just, I can't tell you why, and I don't know, and he's like freaking the hell out. This movie could not be more dramatic if it tries. Every character is like dialed to 18 on the drama scale.
Everyone's having like a mental breakdown every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like they're okay for a minute and then the next minute they're like dying.
Yes. And there's definitely a lot of like domestic abuse.
Yeah.
On both sides of the
There's a lot
aisle.
of just domestic, bad, like abuse happening all around.
He's slapping her around. She's slapping him around, hurting him. They're beating the shit out of each other. They're screaming at each other in public. They're throwing things.
They're abandoning their child for 2 weeks or something.
Like 3 weeks?
Something crazy.
It was insane. Like some child's left at home for weeks on his own and he's just covered in jelly.
I know. That was like the funniest part.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like, we'll talk spoilers because why not? It's a film from 1981. I'm not here to like sell you on the film or not. It's got like a 7.3 on IMDb. It's been out for like 40 freaking 1 years. It's just a film I've never personally seen. It's one of those rare movies that's like pretty loved in the horror community. That's after the 60s. That I haven't seen, and that's a rare film.
Super rare.
And so I know this poster very well, mostly because it has tits on the cover. So
I don't even know if I've seen
it's like a Medusa with like tits.
Oh.
And I'm
what?
like,
Wait,
yeah, that's what it looks like, the cover. I'll show it to you. Or here, look it up. So, I'm familiar with the film as far as like I know it exists. Not that cover. Oh. It is a different one. If you can look through the pictures, maybe you'll be able to find it. Doesn't matter.
Anyway.
But this is such a bizarre movie. Like the whole time I'm just like, what is happening? What is happening here? And I'm sure there's people who've seen this movie 50 times and are like Rhodes scholars and like have some crazy interpretation of like, oh, this is metaphorical for the times in Berlin during this era or whatever. And you're like,
yeah, I wasn't even gonna. I'm not gonna pretend to know at all what's happening because even the actual plot, I'm still like kind of confused. Like I think I made you look up a synopsis or you started looking one up because I was like getting lost with what was happening with the characters and where we were.
Yes,
which doesn't happen to me very often in movies, but. No. I was gonna say that the interpretation that I could even like try and like throw together is about relationships. Like that's like the most obvious thing to me, I guess. But
sure, if you're talking about
still like super confused.
If you're talking about it's like a metaphor,
right?
For like distance in relationships and that
like becoming different people and
literally
like all of that. I'm like, okay, I get that, but there's also a lot that I don't get. I was thinking about some things that happen at that hotel with whatever that thing is that's there. Like I just am very confused by many of the elements, but I also I definitely see why people love the movie. I thought that there was some I really like the feel of the film itself. Like it felt
very frantic,
very surreal, and I'm always into surrealism, but I definitely think that we need to watch it, or we would need to watch it multiple times and really try and dissect it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll do that at any point, but
yeah, it's just, it is one of those films where you sit back and you just constantly wonder why the hell anyone's doing anything that they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't have a good sense of anything in the film on the first watch. You're just kind of like, why is this person acting like this? Why do I care? Like, these people are terrible. Like, the husband's an asshole. He's hitting his wife. You know, he's freaking out. He's talking about how, like, you can just have the kid. Like, I'm not even going to see him anymore. Like,
but then he's not.
Like, using your kid as like a tool of revenge to get back at your partner is like legit top 5, one of the most fucked up things you can possibly
100%, yes.
So like anybody who uses their child as a weapon against their partner because they're like mad they cheated on them or weren't with them or did whatever, you're a fucking asshole. Like, that is such a dreadful, awful thing to do. Don't ever do that. You should love your kid a trillion times more than you love your fucking ego or your pride. So, like, that kind of stuff where he's mad at his wife and is like, well, fine, I don't want to ever see Bob again. It's like, well, fuck you then. Like, I immediately am like, he's hurt. Oh, I'm hurt. So who cares? Fucking grow up. Your child needs an adult to raise them, to parent them. They don't need a fucking jealous man-child who's like, oh, you're with another man, so I never want to see my kid again because it'll hurt you. Fuck off.
But these characters, they don't even feel like anything close to real people. No. Like, they feel like metaphors. They feel like symbols or like placeholders.
But if I'm trying to empathize, if I'm trying to connect it all. Now, granted, pretty much everybody in the film's a shitty person. Like, I don't really see any good out of anyone outside of maybe the school teacher, who's also his wife. But
she's
like,
a doppelganger?
She's a doppelganger, right? Like, because she has the green eyes, right? So she's got the green eyes, and then Sam Neill's doppelganger at the end's got the green eyes. So the wife's already been turned. Yeah, and then the pink socks guy.
Oh my god.
That stuff, like, does your subject still wear pink socks? And then, like, we get a close-up where the guy's like, look, I'm wearing pink socks. Remember earlier in the film when they mentioned pink socks?
Literally, like, 2 minutes of the film.
I'm wearing pink socks. Ha ha ha. I'm the subject. Like, but what?
No.
Who?
I don't know.
Isn't he in the room? He's one of the guys that's in the room that's like, all right, so, like, are you going to... And then he, like, walks out of there with like a briefcase full of cash.
I know.
And I'm like, is that severance? Did he embezzle that? What happened there? That was his payment for Spine, but then he like left the job. So don't you not get paid because you like left the job early?
I don't know.
Like, I don't
know what's going on with the spy stuff. I didn't even realize he was a spy until we read the synopsis. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I thought he was, but I definitely wasn't a spy. The actress's performance though, like her freakouts were pretty incredible to watch. And like, I was just thinking too.
She committed.
Yes, like how draining it would be to try and do that performance. You know, I don't know how many takes they would have had to do for some of them, but like, she is like full on losing her mind. Yeah. Like literally, like she made herself go crazy for this film. And so that's kind of cool because it's very, it's not like a realistic like mental breakdown, but because I've never seen anybody act like that at all, but it is like a very scary
You've never worked in a mental institution, obviously.
I haven't, and I'm sure that there probably are people that like just go that psychotic where they're like just screaming and like crying and laughing and making like animal noises and like throwing themselves, you know, on the wall. I don't know, but it was very interesting to watch her. The
miscarriage in the tunnel scene where she like oozes blood and like cum and whatever green fucking shit out of her ears and all of her orifices, like that, I'm telling you, that chick, that had to be done in one take because
it had
that
to.
Chick, I was actually nervous. But that was funny. I've never felt like that before, but I was actually nervous when she was doing it. She was throwing herself around near the wall, and I'm like, she's going to hit her fucking head.
Oh,
she's gonna
sure.
knock herself out. She's like, and the wall's like right here, and I'm like, dude,
well,
like,
and even when she's like straining at one point, and you just see her like she's like not breathing. The muscles are or the veins in her neck and head are like popping out, and she's like shaking.
yeah,
It's like one of this movie was funny because
Yes.
of how uncomfortable and ridiculous and insane everything was. I just don't even have like any other words to like describe it.
And then there's Heinrich,
Yeah.
who like beats the shit out of Sam Neill, and then like calls on him later after he finds out their girlfriend is like killing people.
Yeah.
And then he stages his death to look like a suicide, where he like vomited into a toilet so much he drowned himself. Like, I guess he
But
just.
he like was on drugs, like, because that was also.
But how did he kills him by drowning him in it? Like an autopsy would reveal that he drowned. Like you have fluid in your lungs.
Yeah.
You drown. That's how that works.
Right.
You know, you do an autopsy, they check the lungs and they're filled with fluid. Okay, so he drowned. That's how he died.
Yeah.
Right? You can't draw in breath underwater if you're dead.
No.
So if your lungs are empty, right? So like he definitely was drowned in the toilet. So he vomited to the point where he passed out into the toilet and drowned. Okay. I don't think there's any actual plan here, right? Because he takes Heinrich's motorcycle to the apartment and he makes it stage it like he blew up the apartment and then drives off on his motorcycle so people will like recognize the motorcycle maybe, or he tries to get out of there really fast, so maybe he's not trying to be seen because Heinrich's already dead by that point.
Right.
And the time of death would not line up. Like nobody commits arson and then goes and drowns in a toilet within like 10 minutes. Like that's not. There's no logic to the film at fuck at all. Not one bit.
No, because also Heinrich's mom like calls him. And,
Oh, she's like, my kid's dead? Okay, I'm just going to take these pills I already had laid out.
Yeah, there's so many parts of this film I'm just like, what was actually happening there? I don't understand. And it is kind of a movie that sort of makes me feel stupid because I'm like, why don't I get it? I want to get it. Like, I really want to understand what's going on. Like, I want to be on the in crowd, you know, and know. But I just don't. And Sam Neill in this is scary. This is like, I think the youngest I've ever seen him.
Yeah, he's young.
He's very young.
Yeah.
And he's like super skinny.
Yeah.
And scary. Like there's some points too that he has. Yeah, that it's the same as with his the actress that he's with, where it's just like you lost it. Like you really broke your mind for this role.
People very much committed to this role, right? And this is a film that, while it might have a cult following, it isn't really talked about almost at all. Like that's the reason I've never seen it, because until I got into the horror community in the internet age, had I ever even heard of the damn thing. And I just never really sought it out.
Sought it out?
Yeah, that works. Seeked it out is what I was trying to. I was like, in my head, I was like, seeked. No. That's not right. It's sought. But yeah, what a fucking mind fuck of a movie this is.
It really is. I'm really happy we watched it though. Like, I did have like a entertaining time watching it.
Yes.
So that much I can say for sure. But
I was never bored. I was constantly just sitting there, looking over at you, laughing.
We were
we laughed a
kept
lot.
Looking at each other.
This is a comedy to us.
Yes, because of how weird it was. So I just want people to explain, like, just tell us what was happening. Like, what is the secret message? What's the code? What is it that we're missing? Or if there's somebody who's done, like, a video, analysis of it, I would love to watch it.
Yeah, what's the literal interpretation,
Yeah.
and then what's, like, the metaphorical? Because Kaylee, I think, hit the nail on the head when it's, like, it's a metaphor for relationships and people turning into other people.
Yeah.
Like, literally and figuratively, right? Because they literally turn into other people. And then the figurative metaphor for the film as well. So there's that aspect of it. And then there is this, which I was talking about, how I felt like these guys were like fucking Antichrist. And that basically, I felt like there's some Hellraiser Frank shit going on in here where she has to feed this thing bodies. Why she has to fuck it, I have no idea. She's getting pregnant and then she's miscarrying this thing's babies. Right? Like, that's what's happening in the subway tunnel.
So do you think the plan was for them to, like the whole family was going to be replaced, right? Like, even the kid? Maybe. And also, why does he drown himself at the end?
The kid just jumps into the fucking water and drowns himself.
He just straight up drowns himself?
Or he's trying to, like, Bob.
Bob. Yeah, I don't know, but I just realized, like, maybe she was trying to make another tiny doppelganger of her son.
I've kind of felt like doing what Bob did to himself at the end of the film while I was watching. Just go out and run and jump into the pool and just
don't open it. Don't open it.
And he just runs upstairs and there's a bath drawn.
Yeah, the bath is there and he's just like
He's like, I have an idea. I know that there's a whole bathtub full of water upstairs. I'm gonna go kill myself.
Bye.
What that was, no idea. Maybe so like what comes between parents like ultimately hurts the child. Is that the ending of that's the message in the end?
That works. But there's like,
I don't know.
There's some cool shots though, you know, like there were some really neat like just it's surrealism. That's it. Like it was just very surreal. The sex scene with the monster, the creature.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
The film feels weird for weird's sake. You being such a big Twin Peaks fan, this feels way up more up your alley than mine.
Yeah.
I like weird movies to a degree. I have my threshold for like I either want it to be, I don't know. It's weird because I had said the film was entertaining, but maybe for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
Like, am I actually supposed to be emotionally invested and scared? Fail. Big time. I'm not emotionally invested. I'm not scared. I was laughing the entire film. Right? So the film, honestly, but weirdly, I saw comments from people that were like, this is one of the most frightening films I've ever watched.
I was uncomfortable at times for sure.
I was uncomfortable with how dumb I felt.
Well, there's like that looming thought, but there was definitely some moments where I was like, this is really unsettling. But I don't know I wasn't like terrified at any point, but I was very like uncomfortable. Especially like the whole sequence where she's like looking directly at the camera. Like, I had no idea what was going on there. Until we realized that she was like, it was like a film.
He was watching a film.
But it was very like that fourth wall breaking thing. I was like, I don't like that. Stop looking at me. But yeah.
Not me.
No.
Not me, no. Like, the miscarriage in the subway tunnel thing was just fucking funny to me. Like, the whole time I was just laughing. Like, what the hell is happening here? So yeah, I mean, you can definitely take any scene in this film and just be like, what? I think we mentioned most of the stuff. Like, I had said in the end, maybe this is like birthing of the Antichrist, right. But like the whole, because at the end it felt like bombs were dropping, but I guess maybe that was like the cops coming. I don't. I even thought it was like aliens. I thought it was aliens. Like, there was lights all coming through the window. I'm like, oh, so these are like, this is like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or something, right? Because that would make sense. Invasion of the Body Snatchers style, like aliens who are coming down to, replicate us, like the Thing, right? But like, they have to have sex, but the guys are killed and they're being fed to him, or but he's not replicating their body, but maybe he's taking, because they're almost fully formed, because like they're having sex and he's like almost, she's like almost, sorry, almost like almost I'm gonna come, or almost you're gonna be done.
Know. And I don't know if that was supposed to just be like how gross he feels that his wife is like again, like the metaphor, right? Like she's cheating on him and he just is like looking at, like, you know, he catches her cheating on him and is looking at it with such like disgust, right? Because it's the woman that he loved with some strange creature. I don't know.
One of the funniest scenes in the whole movie, by far and away, is one of the dumbest scenes, far and away, is he hijacks a cab, puts a gun to the cab driver's head, and is like, run this car into the back of the police car. And the guy's like, all right, mate. And like just backs it up and then just starts driving. He opens the door to like jump out at any moment. He jumps out and the guy doesn't immediately like just stop or like swerve. That would be the obvious thing.
Sure.
Once the guy jumps out, you just turn and keep driving and
Yeah.
he can't shoot you. And then the guy's just rolled in front of the cops.
Right.
And they're like, get him. Like, what?
Get him.
Like, he jumps out of the car and the cab driver just keeps driving forward with no gun on him.
No.
And then the cab driver runs into the car and then he immediately just bolts.
He just takes off.
Because I
running.
guess he thinks the cops are going to shoot at him. So I get that, I guess.
do. They shoot at Sam Neill's character.
They do, but like, his plan
Oh my
is
God.
what? He smashes into the back as he jumps out and then just starts shooting randomly in the wide open as like 6 cops are shooting at him. And it's like, do you have any cover? Like, you're a spy for the military.
But he's
like, you're trained.
unhinged at this point. Like both
But
of
there's
them.
no logic to his plan. And
No.
he's like making a distraction to get this person out of there. And then like they come out and all the cars are blowing up and he hits the car and the trunk opens and the body falls out of the best friend of the girl who he's banging, the one with the cast on her leg. That it's like he's banging her. He's also banging the teacher.
Yeah.
He's also... The teacher thing is like, I have no idea what's going on there. Because it is her, right? This is very Vertigo, where the dude's wife, or I haven't seen Vertigo in a long time, but I know like somebody dies and then he finds like a doppelganger of that person and like fixates on her because he looks just like, kind of like in Honeymoon in Vegas, right? Where Tommy Corman wants Sarah Jessica Parker's character because he looks just like, his ex-wife who died. Anyways, so yeah, that whole thing, I have no idea. I don't know.
clue.
She's already been turned, but like she's super sweet and she's like the only nice character in the movie. But then Sam Neill's like doppelganger is like full evil. And he can like control people's minds. Like, and I've never seen a weirder suicide in a movie.
Oh
She
my God.
takes a gun and she like puts it behind her back like this
and
then shoots herself in the low spine and instantly dies.
Would that
No.
It just paralyze you?
It would
hurt you?
it would hurt, and it would probably if you severed the spinal cord down here, yeah, you'd be paralyzed, but you wouldn't die instantaneously. Like, she has the gun,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing preventing her from going
But she's like,
to the head, right?
yeah.
Or even if like she wants to put herself up and shoot herself through the heart or whatever, she decides to put the gun behind her back, laying on her stomach, and shoot her spine.
Yeah.
And that kills her instantly. What?
I don't know.
What? And then, for some weird reason, Sam Neill, out of nowhere, like, we don't even see him push her off, but like, he just jumps off the railing.
I know. I was so confused by that. I was like, wasn't he like dying and like maybe already dead?
Yeah,
Like,
he'd been shot like 6 times at
Yeah.
that point. Done more. Because he gets shot in the
More.
street, and
Yes.
then when he goes to shoot his doppelganger, the cops like spray them
Yes.
with bullets.
But he jumps off and
But
dies.
then he's just like,
And-
I'm not dying fast enough. And he just jumps. And bro, what?
This movie.
It's loved though. It's
Oh,
loved. This is one of those weird films. Like, we watch movies all the time
Yeah.
where we just genuinely can't figure out why people don't like them. But then people love shit like this. And it's like so overwhelmingly positive. Like,
Yeah.
it has like a 7.3 on IMDb. Like, it's a really beloved movie. And I watch it and I'm like, this is a film for a very specific audience.
Oh my gosh. This
right?
is like, yeah.
This is
just
like
imagining.
This is that like very fringe
Yes.
group of people that would like this kind of movie, but like so many people are like, oh, I love it, and I'm like, what?
I don't know, like I can just imagining showing your dad this movie, or like, you know what I mean, like just like general public. This movie is like weirder to me than Men was, or you
So
know,
much
like
weirder.
it's so bizarre. But I do kind of see how people are into it. Of course, I just don't understand. I want to know.
I get the appeal. I don't get the mass appeal. This is not a mass appeal kind of movie.
Right.
This is a
very niche.
yes, it's a very niche film.
Yeah.
It's for a very specific audience that's into like uber bizarro, like indie type films, right?
Yeah.
That are that try different things. How this is so loved is crazy to me. I'm not saying it's not warranted that some people feel that strongly about it. Totally fine. I just wouldn't think this would hit with a mass audience. There's no way. But I think that's just it. The only people who are watching this and are talking about it is that little niche group, right? And those are the only ones like rating it and the only ones really discussing it.
That's what I think too.
But this is...
It's out there.
Yeah, it's an interesting film. That I genuinely don't understand like 1 second of.
No. So explain, please.
Yeah, I mean, if you got some, or just link us to a video that you think does a good job of figuring it out, because I'm sure it's there, but I have a feeling if that video exists or if someone explains it to me, it's either going to be exactly very close to what we said, or it's going to be some other bullshit that I'm going to be like, what? What? No, you're just stressing. Because people love to like push things together to make them fit. Like, oh no, what the director's really saying here. This film does feel pretentious as fuck to me. I said that before and I'll say it again. It feels like it's weird for weird's sake. I feel like it's trying to be overly artsy and bizarre. And maybe there's a message there that the director had. Or it's just like, how fucking frantic and insane can I make a film?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, shit was written and done on the fly. Like, okay, like, now miscarry in a subway tunnel and just give it your all.
We're going to pump a lot of goo around you and over you.
No, I'm sure someone's going to explain it to us and we're just going to be exposed as morons, and that's fine.
Exposed?
Yeah.
That could be the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Exposed as morons.
That'd be a great video. I'd love that. Like somebody else makes a video. Sinister Cinema Exposed. And we're all like, duh, in the thumbnail. That would be great. I'd love that video. That'd be so funny. Almost as funny as this fucking film was. So, yeah. Possession. If you haven't seen it, it's on Shudder. And if you haven't seen it, I almost can guarantee you're watching it now.
Yes.
The way we talk about it, I find to be way too enticing.
I know. It's
too insane to not watch.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let us know if you watch it.